I've just had government regulations of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency on my mind lately, and I've been hearing some rumblings and kind of imagine like what would the ideal amount of regulation be, because you definitely don't want to do it too much and squash it, especially now when it's not too big. Although we're getting more resistant to that all the time. But what would I want so that more regulated institutions can pile into Bitcoin? Because I mean that's adoption, and I want people to be able to freely trade it and send it around the world without too much paperwork that needs to be done. Of course, they can anyway, and that's not really able to be stopped. But you know, like as there's certain laws that apply to the current regular banking financial system and this is mostly in the United States, because that's where I'm at, and we have the dollar, and we kind of impose on the rest of the world in some ways. So enough regulation for the good guys, not too much so that regular people can't buy things from other countries with Bitcoin or whatever, and transact and sell their services. And you know what? If you don't want to shoot yourself in the country's foot in this, you don't want to shoot your own foot by accident when you're trying to friggin' over-regulate it, because it's money flowing in or it's money flowing out, but it's smoother. This ideally, like, church and state are separate. You should allow there to be a separate state and currency. Of course, you could say regulate it like gold, I guess. If you want to tax it. That's one option that would provide motivation for the government to allow it to flourish. But you could get rid of capital gains tax and tax other things. But I think capital gains tax is like, unearned income. Yeah, should probably tax it a little bit, and it should probably be based on a scale of how much you're raking in. Or you could just institute a wealth tax, but I know a lot of people in the crypto space are kind of like anarchistic leaning, and that's fine too. Like, I don't think the government should ban privacy coins. I think they might. I could see why they might want to. I don't want them to. I find them useful. It's nice not broadcasting your address and everything to people you're sending to. Of course, the government's going to try. The government could just say, "Well, allow it, but we're going to try our best to crack it, and maybe we're going to crack it." But that's already happening, where Shapeshift delisted Monero. On the topic of stablecoins, yeah, you should just let there be stablecoins, because your U.S. dollar control shit isn't a good look. I get it that you don't want these people to do fractional reserving, like Tether maybe, and then it goes bust and everybody gets wrecked because there's not enough backing to go around, and that's not good. So I guess for regulated, like, centralized solutions, you should probably keep an eye on that. Just to protect people, not to control them so much. Decentralized, like DAI, people are going to use it at their own risk. So I don't know if you could stop it if you wanted to, but you definitely I don't doubt. I don't want the government to take DAI down, because they couldn't take DAI down, but might as well, like, let people accept it. Like, it's fine. This whole, like, tracing every transaction to make sure it doesn't go to a terrorist or a political something or other, like tracing everybody's payments and mapping everybody's address, making you register your addresses with the government or something. I think that's a little extreme. money laundering is not good in the perspective of the government, but it's just so much legitimate stuff you're squashing to get a little bit of illegitimate stuff. I mean, like, do your best to track it and just prosecute it on an as needed basis, but don't be like making us all publicly register all our addresses and shit like that. Because it just doesn't work with DeFi. You're doing shit, it doesn't work. Shit gets real complicated. You're doing market making, you're doing whatever. Shit gets complicated. You're loaning and interest is variable and it's pain. So, like, yeah, I get it. You want to tax it. Just tax it when we go to fiat or like when we do really big trades on centralized exchanges. But it's getting so much more decentralized. What are you going to do about the decentralized exchanges? How the fuck are you going to shut them down? Haters. But seriously, there are teams that are behind them. Sometimes, there are things that can be done to hinder the decentralized exchange space. Of course, you can always still interact with the contract, but if it was illegal, I don't want to do it and then be like, oh, hope they didn't know that was me. So, chill out, let it roll, let's see where this goes. We should be inviting this innovation to our country. Instead, we are behind a lot of places, a lot of money is going elsewhere, and it's going to concentrate there, and we're going to lose the dollar, and we're going to be not looking as good as we could be if we embrace this technology, regulated it to a proper but not overly atrocious and dystopian and shit like that. So that's what I hope happens with regulations. Have a good night. Word of wisdom. The best time to plant a tree was 10 years ago. The second time is now. Bye, not financial advice.